There we go. It says
Yes.
recording. Okay.
Recording started.
And we got it started just in time to sound completely unprofessional.
To be fair. And honestly, I don't think anybody would mind. But if it is that
It'll
they
be
do
fine.
mind, they need to watch. It'll be fine. And if not, they should watch more dramas with like very funny hijinks. Because that is what today's situation is, to be fair. And yeah, I think this is just a great way for us to just segue into an introduction, because this is the very first episode of the very first season of Subtitles Are Girls' Best Friends. Why? Because me, you, and I, and hopefully people listening to this particular podcast do love dramas and stories that come to us in other languages that are not our mother tongue, or languages that we actually can speak very fluently. Can you speak Chinese?
No. Darling, does this accent sound like I speak anything outside of Europe? Noria is in Nigeria and I'm on the Welsh border. And so occasionally there will be times when we have massive technical malfunctions. So far, we've only had minor ones.
And we're happy about the minor ones.
Yes. So don't worry, we're not going to be super polished straight out the bat. We know that. And if you guys think that we're doing something wrong, you are more than welcome to, if whatever you're listening to this in has a comment section, to comment. We're going to have contact details available and stuff like that. Let us know. Yep. I cannot. She will care. If you're saying something like this is completely different, it's not like the other podcasts we listen to, it might not be. I'm really sorry. Both of us come from a storytelling background and a reviewer or review watcher background.
Yes.
So please know that if we're ignoring you, it's not that we think you're wrong. It's just that we have to do it this way, at least at the beginning.
Exactly. And also, if it is that you think that we said something particularly offensive, please let us know so that we can learn and we can do better. Because we are both firm believers in. We will definitely listen to that, because we're both firm believers in the fact that nobody knows everything, and part of having a human experience is learning and growing and evolving. And if it is that you're watching dramas that are set in like other countries and in other languages different from your own, then already you're on the first step towards figuring out how it is that other parts of the world live and how it is that they tell their own stories and engage with each other, and that is already a good thing. So therefore, like we said, if we say anything that you find particularly offensive, please explain. Just reach out to us and be like, you said this in this particular episode, and this is the reason why, it could be read as offensive, and we'll just, we'll take that feedback on and do better. So just definitely wanted to plug that in as well. But yes, I think, Holly, you wanted to talk about how, like, no shade to those that absolutely. Like watch their dramas and dubs.
Absolutely, no shade to anybody who prefers dubs over subs, whether it's because you're visually impaired, whether it's that helps your focus better, or if you just prefer it. That's not an issue. The only issue I have is the Netflix dubs are so bad, and I pity you with every piece of my being. We use subs, and we needed a title, and both of us have a tendency to break into song. So we decided to give ourselves a title that we can't sing without being sued. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I will say it in this first episode. I'm not going to reiterate it every time, but we definitely do not have any like prejudice against people who use dubs. I know that in the anime community, it's a very hot button issue. In the drama community, we just want the stories and the pretty people.
Thank you. Double emphasis on the pretty people. Thank you very much. And today's first episode, you might have already guessed, or rather you should have seen it, because we would have everything with regards the communication and putting it out there. But we have 2 dramas for our very first episode. Holly, do you want to explain to our listeners exactly why we decided to go with these two particular dramas so that they can fit into the very first episode's theme?
Yeah. As we said, we've got a overarching theme for the season, and that theme is they thought she was dead. And we have we have split it up into two at a time for several reasons. The first of them is that we won't like every single show, and as this episode has proven, it can be a chore trying to get through a show that you're not enjoying, and I don't want that to be something that this podcast becomes. The other way is it's very easy in isolation to run out of ways to say this is really good or this is really shit. When you have things to compare, that is so much easier. It also gives us both time to talk through something, to get into something, to be excited about something, to tell a bit of a story, which I think might work for a podcasting medium better than a full hour or however long this turns out to be of us two trying not to talk over each other.
Because I personally think we're going to feel at that.
That's why there's the separation. So for at least a bit, there'll probably be people eventually who will listen to this and they're like, I listened to the story bit at the start and then I have to stop listening because they're just so chaotic.
But you know what? Whichever part of the podcast you actually enjoy, whichever part of it is your favorite, we're just happy that you're gifting us your time to listen. So even if it is that you listen all the way to the end, or you only listen to the first 15 minutes to be like, what are the quick summaries of this particular shows? Let's see if this is something I might be interested in checking out and watching for myself. Whichever one you give us is perfectly fine. We're happy with that. We're just really happy and thankful that you took the time to listen to this podcast.
I said this just before we started recording. The biggest problem I'm having so far with the podcast is I'm so used to telling Noria all of my opinions about every episode and every moment of every show I watched. And I haven't been able to do this because I'm watching the series that I want to talk about in the next episode. And I'm like, I can't tell her, but no. This podcast is at least in part my reaction to my friends being sick of me begging them to watch 50 episodes of a show just for me to bitch about the ending. So I am hoping that I can use this as an outlet for my desire to recommend things to people and to be like, this is amazing. You have to watch this. Or this is awful. Do not waste, 50 hours of your life on something that is ruined by itself.
This is great, but it's best for you to stop at episode 49 because episode 50 is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage. So to spare you from the garbage, we're going to be here to tell you episode 49 is a great place to stop. Just tell yourself that everybody walked into the sunlight, into the sunset. Everybody's alive. Everybody's happy. Everybody's well. And you can go about your day just being like, people would ask you, be like, oh, but that show had a great ending. You'd be like, nah, Nori and Holly warned me. And I stopped at the good point. That is it.
God, the idea of us being considered proper authorities and anything is somewhat terrifying. Actually, no, for you are one of my authorities for entertainment, so I don't know why I said that. The idea of being an authority on something. Okay.
But that's the thing. It's all just opinions, but let's see.
I'm going to start out this week because, spoiler alert, I picked a show that I thought I would love and I didn't love. I have only watched 19 episodes out of 25, and I can't. Friends, I can't do it. I tried these past few days to force myself to watch the last few episodes, and it'd be like, oh, I'll switch on this bit. Why did I stop watching? Oh, that's him. That's why I stopped watching this. So my show for this episode, the episode is called Save Face, and my show is Lady Revenger Returns from the Fire. I know what you're thinking. Dun, 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 dun. It's an awesome title. I thought it was an awesome title. That's why I started watching it. I then realized, wait a minute, I've seen these two leads in something else before. The two leads had done a contemporary rom-com together, which I'll talk about later. And so it was one of those things where they got cast into the same show, or actually, in my opinion, I'm going to get close to the microphone so you can appreciate the intensity. She clearly got cast and he came along. Okay, they stuck him in as an afterthought and it's devastating. So, Lady Revenger, I'm sorry, Noria. Lady Revenger.
I'm trying my best. But continue.
Lady Revenger stars Zhulu and Wei Ming in the leads. It is a story about, to give her the elevator pitch, about vengeance and not really knowing where the plot's going. It's one of the ones that where a lot of happens in a lot of Chinese storytelling is that you have a situation, you build up the characters, and then they go in an episodic fashion, a bit like ancient Greek storytelling, where it's like, how are our plucky fans going to deal with this section, this section, this section? And many, many shows do that brilliantly and grippingly and coherently, and Lady Revenger is not one of them. Okay. To set us up, we have Luo Alien, who is the oldest daughter of a wine merchant family. She's the favorite daughter, the perfect daughter. Everything she does is right. The sun shines out of her ass. And she is being given control of the family's wine-making endeavors. She is also the only child from the first marriage. She has two sisters who are younger than her. Meanwhile, we have a box with a mysterious treasure in it has gone missing. This box was being carried from A to B by the Shen escort company when it was stolen, just when the leader of the escort agency had been called away because his sister Dan Xing had been fatally, if very, very slowly and conveniently poisoned. But it's okay, because General Zhu Zhengfang, who I will now refer to as Chengfeng because I pronounced it wrong. So yeah, Zhu Chengfeng. I'm now overthinking this. I have been trying so hard, guys. You have no idea how hard I've been trying. He has been sent by the Emperor, because this is set in the past. He has been sent to retrieve the box with the treasure map that is in it in order to find the treasure. He arrives just as a murder happens in Luo Alien's house. A guy tries to sexually assault her and then just drops dead. And so she has getting pressure, and her father is getting pressure from his family to organize a ghost marriage. This is important. I know this is like minute detail, but it comes in so often. A ghost marriage. And he's like, well, it's fine. We'll just make middle daughter do it. So middle daughter kills him and sets her oldest sister up. And then...
hold up though. Was it the middle daughter or youngest daughter?
No, it was the middle daughter. The middle daughter does. And the reason is like, and I know that this is actually not revealed in the first episode. I'm giving you a general setup of the first few episodes.
Okay, for those that are like, but why is Noria interrupting? This is Holly's drama. It's because I watched this drama for like the first 6 episodes, and then I told Holly, and I'm like, Holly, power to you. Power to you. Sorry, I'm out. But
this is why as well I'm giving like a lot of like heavy info, is because you need to know this stuff, but it is not coherently presented.
It is not. It is all over the place, which is why now we are having this argument, because Holly, I could have sworn that father wanted middle daughter to have a ghost marriage, right? With dead rapist, now dead, fuck his ass person. Sorry, we're like, this is rated for like strong language, because unfortunately, I do sometimes curse. So now, but I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you saying that middle daughter was the one that killed him, because I could have sworn that it was young. Yeah, middle daughter killed him by setting youngest daughter to think that youngest daughter did, but it was middle daughter that planned it. But then they now set it up to make it seem like eldest daughter killed him. if everybody's wondering what on earth we're talking about, just imagine a triangle. It's layers. It's like those like Russian dolls of intrigue.
Imagine
right?
a show where they realized the youngest daughter wasn't a very good actress and they changed it after like 7 episodes.
Yeah.
She's very pretty, but she is not a good actress.
She's very pretty. Anyway. But she's convinced herself that she's a mastermind, but she's not. She is most certainly not.
So at this stage, the mother of the 2 younger girls tells character who will soon not be mentioned ever again, her husband's brother, that in actual fact, this is a lie, by the way, that the middle daughter is his child and she's always loved him, honest, and he should help her kill the oldest daughter for no reason.
Wait, hold up. Is it the middle daughter? Because I think you keep mixing them up, though. The middle daughter is the one that... Yes, because the youngest daughter is the pretty one. The middle daughter is the one that is always quiet, that is very close. Now, so here is another detail that seems trite, but is actually important up until like episode 7 when everything is revealed. But until the revelation, eldest daughter thinks that middle daughter, who is often being bullied by youngest daughter, because middle daughter out of all 3 of them is the one that is not as pretty. Like clearly, eldest daughter is pretty and has the brains. Youngest daughter
they're all beautiful
has
actresses,
no brains,
by the
really
way.
pretty.
This is 100%.
Yeah, they're all.
This is 100%. The show are doing the thing where they don't put makeup on one of them.
when the show casts really, really hot women, and then it's like, but she's not hot, and you're like, I'm not blind. That is an attractive woman. And show is like, no, you think she's attractive, but she's not. But you're like, show, that girl is very attractive. So that's how it is, right? So middle daughter is the one that is meant to be.
At least in America, they have the decency to put a pair of glasses on someone before they tell you they're ugly, you know?
and put their hair in a ponytail, right? So the hair is always in a ponytail, and then there's the glasses, so that when you have the makeover, you just take down the ponytail, shake your head, you have waves, and then you lose the glasses and put on contacts, and voila, oh my god, she's so pretty. But like, C-dramas are like, we don't have time for that energy. We tell you this person is
ugly. We're just gonna tell you
that this person is ugly. But you're just like, okay, fine, thank you. So I'm just saying that because youngest daughter is the one that their mother lied to their uncle that, oh, youngest daughter is your daughter.
Oh god, okay, now I can't remember. Drama. Now I am strangled. He says one of these children is your child. I think he says it's the youngest one because she's the pretty one. And so she was trying to make that out. Yeah. So I'm completely lost now. So anyway, that group of the family of uncle, stepmother, and her 2 and youngest of the stepkids go and set fire to the house where she is being held in accusation of having killed her father. Now, while this has been going on, the worst general in the history of casting has given her a flare to set off when she's worked out who killed her father. She never gets to use it. It gets broken during the upcoming attempt to burn her alive.
Very convenient.
But it was an inkling of things to come that I should have recognized. I was still pulling for this boy. I'm like, my boy Wei Ming, he's a fantastic actor. He's probably just acting like this because the general's undercover. No. So he sees off in the distance this building burning. He doesn't even go towards it. Any other hero would have run towards it in slow motion and been seen against a backdrop of smoke. But no, not this one. He's like, something's on fire. Anyway. The stress is real. Anyway, in a theme which runs across both of our shows, she is rescued by her maid, who then dies, having fulfilled her narrative purpose. And she escapes by being set on fire and then falling into some water and then turning up in a completely different body of water, where she is rescued by, if you remember when I started Wittering, the owner of the escort company, Shen Zishan. And he does one of these magical surgery operations that exists in C-dramas, and it crops up so often, so it must actually be like a massive part of theology or mythology in the area. He takes her face off like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage and swaps it with his dying sister, who then dies because she's been poisoned, and again she has fulfilled her narrative purpose and so she can die. From this
also
point
because
on,
she no longer needs her face. We have to remember that
yeah,
she no longer needs her face. Yes, thank you.
exactly. So like, you know, she, and literally as well, it's like, it's not even a moral gray area with this one. It's you know, in this storyline, it's always like, no, I'll die, you take my face, as if that is something anyone would ever say. No, it's fine, I don't mind dying early. You can stop looking for the cure to this poison thing. But anyway, I haven't got to the end of the series, so it's like there's I have one suspicion that isn't really obvious about how the show is going to go, and I don't know whether or not it's going to drop. But anyway, so yeah, then Shen Danqing whispers, "It's all right, take my face." And so they do this operation, leaving her one convenient burn on the back of her neck, which they cover with a tattoo. Like all of her other ones, hands, arms, they just go whoop, and it's magically fixed after a few months of bandages. But just one that she's left so that she can be recognized later.
Yes, very important.
That is sincerely the only reason. Oh, God, the laziness. Anyway, so over the coming weeks, months, 24 hours, Shen Zishan teaches Luo Alian to be Shen Danqing. From here on out, I'm going to refer to her as Shen Danqing. I'm really sorry. It is easier for me to pronounce. And also, that's what they call her in the show. To the extent that this guy spends weeks being like, no, you didn't do that right. That's what Luo Alian would have done. You're not using how my sister would have done it. No. You're speaking about your own issues. My sister didn't have your revenge issues. You should only have my revenge issues with whoever poisoned my sister, who is you. It is beaten into us for episodes at a time. This is important for later, my dear darlings. Please bear with me. That he wants her to think only as his sister, that she is not allowed opinions or motivations of her own. Now, of course, our girl Shen Danqing, now played by Zhu Lu, isn't going to be about that jazz. Oh, no. So she sets up finding a way to have revenge on the family. And it says a lot that I do not remember what happens to the uncle. I think he dies. I'm fairly sure he dies, but I don't remember why or when.
No, I don't.
Or if he just
when I
leaves.
stopped, when I stopped watching, eldest daughter has planted the seeds of doubt about youngest daughter's paternity, and so that was where I stopped. Where he's like, "Is this my daughter? Is it my daughter?" And they're still manipulating me, and I'm like, "Boy, what is wrong with you?" So, yes, uncle is also not smart. Honestly, a lot of people in that family are just not smart. I have a feeling that a lot of things would have been resolved much easier, much quicker, and there would not have been a story if people just had at least a couple more brain cells to rub together. But that's just
it is a fact
Molly.
Frequently stated, Noria, that the trouble with writing clever characters is that they have to be as clever as you are. And true. I say this as somebody, that's why I write romances about very, very dumb but happy people. Because you can't write someone who's cleverer than you.
Noted, so anyway. Noted. Please continue.
So General Zhu Chongfeng arrives to visit with his good friend Zishan, and also the guy that he's supposedly supposed to be investigating because this treasure box went missing. And he just instantly decides that the person who is exactly like his friend's sister is suspicious. Now, admittedly, there is a female bandit in the area, and he starts to feel that, hey, she's trained by an escort agency. I need to eliminate this as a line of inquiry. But it really comes across as because the plot needs it.
Very convenient.
His tests include, he knows that she's injured, so he forces her to hold a teacup at an awkward angle and serve him tea subserviently in order to prove that she's the person with the injured arm, which she copes with. After that, he's like, Danqing can't swim. I know this because I'm mates with her brother. I know, I'll throw this woman who is Danqing, has her face, into the water and see if she drowns.
Yep.
And you're expected to just be like, meet cute.
How sweet. She's drowning, but she's drowning in an ocean of love.
And of course, because it's a speed drama, It's not like he threw her in 3 foot of water. He threw her in 3 foot of water, which turned into 80 foot of tank. So there's a lot of water there. Every time, guys, every time. You will notice this as you start to watch them. No river is ever murky. No river is only 4 feet deep. Every river in China and Korea is at least 70 foot deep, and it's all crystal clear blue. Where am I up to in my notes? Okay, so yeah, because she knows how to swim, she goes limp and basically feigns death when he pulls her out of the water. But then doesn't get the kiss of life because sea drama. You're lucky if they kiss before like episode 40. So she doesn't trust him, and he doesn't quite trust her, but he's like, okay, my instincts must be wrong for once. Bitch, you have no instincts. I feel like this is the point that I have to explain this. He's playing a general, but if they had cast him as a scholar or as a minister or as a civil servant, he'd have been fine, and most of the stuff would be exactly the same. The boy can do his stunts, but he doesn't look like a general. He is completely unbelievable as a general. And when you have the scenes when it's just the two of, well, not in this bit when he's drowning her, but when you have the scenes when it's the two of them being sweet, it works. Like, you can forget that this is trying, and then somebody calls him general, and you're like, no, my eyes do not. It's like it's. Do you know what? Parallel with Chung Feng being like, okay, well, the evidence in front of me suggests that she must be innocent, and my instincts are saying she's not innocent, but okay, I have to go with the evidence. It's like the opposite of that. You're watching it going, the television show is telling me he's a general. There is a line later where he's like, oh, since I was 7 years old, I camped out under the stars. And I was like, bitch, please. You have done nothing less than glamping. And I don't know. He might actually, as a human being, be a really rugged guy who goes on hikes and camps out in the wilderness, and that's how he gets his holidays. But he does not look it. So miscast, and it's such a shame because I love him as an actor. I think he's an absolute poppet. Oh, but he's awful as a general. Okay. Oh, I just looked at my notes, and that's what I've got. I've got written this like paragraph when everything else is in bullet points. Anyway, so she sets about for the first chunk of this. Therefore, she's getting evidence on her family. She's working as a rival to them in the business world. She gets rid of the uncle. She manages to get the mother to say that she committed various crimes so that she gets locked up and the daughters can go free. At which point it's fully revealed to us just how much, Zhuer has been resenting her family. And she basically takes off her mask and, to quote a very, very good comedy sketch, she does the evil voice. And from now on, she tilts her head downward and everything she says is sneaky and mischievous. And it's like, oh, no, honey, subtlety.
We blame the director for this, but let's continue.
There is 100%, because I've seen her in other stuff. The only person actually who I'll say who, like, admittedly she's been playing the same role for years, but Yang Jianyan, who plays the mother, she's a mother in a lot of things, and she's fabulous. She's absolutely fabulous. But yeah, so you've got this whole hodgepodge of subplots of trying to prove that Zhuer was the one who orchestrated this after she confronts the younger sister, who's called Shuang, and confronts her, and she's like, "Oh no, that wasn't me. I gave that dress to so and so," and now it's this big, oh no, as if she really thought that this airheaded little bubble of a human being was doing all this plotting, and the sister she took for granted all the time and didn't really have a particularly good relationship with is the one who's working against her. We all knew obviously much earlier, but yeah, so she has this little breakdown. It's adorable. But there's lots of investigation in this show. There's lots of one-upmanship with opening a rival winemaking business, which is actually the bit of the show I enjoyed most. Like when there was an actual goal, and the show seemed to know what it was doing the most, is that section with the winemaking and with Cheng Feng and Dan Sheng working through the rivalry portion.
I also think that the reason why it worked is also because of the fact that, like, that is exactly where, you know, the character, right, of Zue comes full on, right? That's where, because, you know, it's established. So, and of course, we'll still talk about my show in a bit. For those that are still here, like, just make yourself comfortable. Make sure that you are hydrating, right? As you listen to us yap about these shows. But I think that because of the fact that, like, the first time we are introduced to Zoe in the show, she's showing how competent she is and how knowledgeable she is about the winemaking business. That is the reason why she's so favored by their father, because she's the one that follows him, that understands the process more than any other of her siblings. In fact, that is what caught the eyes.
Yeah,
of
she does the business side of things, whereas Luo Alien was much more about, like, the wine brewing itself.
Exactly. And so, you know, it then becomes, which is why it's very fascinating, like you said, which is why the part where they then become rivals is something that, you know, works well for the story, because it takes us back to what was established at the start and helps to provide that believability, because now you can be like, oh yeah, of course, it makes sense that all these skills that she's picked up, that they established that that they both had at the start of the drama, is now coming to bear now. But continue, Holly.
So yeah, it's all going very, very well as a TV show. You get a lot of these two characters interacting, him basically forcing himself to back off and to apologize, hanging out of the house only because he's hanging out with Zishan. His investigation continues and it hits a bit of a blank wall, and he's like, okay, so we found the box, but not the thing that was in it. I kind of need that for my career. And then everything goes a bit insane. So while Danxing is putting her half-sister out of business, in a way that any middle or younger children will kind of be going, well, is it really fair? And she is, and Zhuer is basically screwing her mother over, keeping her youngest sister in a little box, which again, any middle children, I'm sure, be like, wait, so she takes something away from the older child and locks her younger child away somewhere? Why is she the bad guy? That's also going to be a theme in C-dramas, people. You will occasionally be like, I know they're the bad guy because now they're suddenly doing immoral things, but they were kind of right.
Right?
So this goes on. It's very, very satisfying. I'm not going to go into huge details because I want you to be able to find things that you enjoy. At this point, Mr. McEvil Prince, whose name I did not even put in my frickin' notes, who is simultaneously probably one of the best actors in the show, but also is given the least to do with it. So I think he's just waiting for the time. He's basically treading water until someone gives him a main role. Shows up, and he's there on behalf of the Empire to be like, come on, click on. We gave you this mission and you haven't completed this mission. Are you just flirting with this chick? And we are seeing that he has past beef of a vague and unspecified nature with Zhu Chengfeng. He spends 5 minutes with his evil sidekick looking for this thing. I think at this stage they haven't found it. He realizes that Chengfeng has a crush on this chick, so he's like, okay. And he poisons her brother with the same poison that his sister died of, which is like, I don't know if that means, because again, I didn't finish it, if he poisoned her, or I'm convinced that it was a setup and that the brother killed his sister. I'm convinced this is the truth, but I don't know if it is the truth. If any of you out there
actually finished it,
if any of you watch it, please let us know. So anyway, Evil Prince, Evil's around being like Bond villain in the 60s levels of subtle, poisons her brother to force Danxing to marry him, just to annoy Chengfeng. He's happy to land himself with a wife that he will then put into the palace and ignore because he hates Chengfeng this much. So of course she's a heroine in a C-drama, so she goes, all right, yes, I'll do it, in order to get the antidote, which she takes on faith, by the way, exists. She eventually winnows him down to, okay, it's the day of the wedding, give my assistant give my assistant the antidote. And so he gives her a half dose and says, oh, it's okay, after it's consummated I'll give you the other half. But she's still just walking up, whatever, okay, I'll go through with this marriage. And General Chung Fung rides up on a horse and goes, no, I object to this marriage, and whisks her away on a horse. And it's like, oh, I wish I could believe you in this role, because I like what's happening. Of course you do. What else are you going to do? That's why he said he wanted to marry her, even though it made no sense, so that you could object to the wedding. Anyway, he manages to get the antidote. So it's like he had his little sidekick. They always have a sidekick, generals. His sidekick is called Tian Hao, and I'm going to look at my notes to who the actor is. Wang Jingwei. He needs to do more. He's, again, one of the best actors in the series. His chemistry is way better with Chung Fung than Chung Fung's is with Danqing. 100%. Damn. Like, I would believe that they, and not in like a slash shippy way, like genuinely just like on-screen chemistry. I would believe that they had ad-libbed all of their scenes. They were so natural. Anyway, so they get the antidote, and while Tian Hao gives the antidote to her brother, they drink under the stars. They drink some of the wine that she's been making with his name, so that she's actually been making a Chung Fung wine blend. Which
is,
while he
a proposal,
is drunk,
when you consider it,
there isn't a proposal at this stage. Yeah, no.
I'm saying that drunk, like she's making wine in his name, like that is a subtle. That's a subtle. You're stuck with me for the rest of our lives. But let's continue.
I mean, she says it's marketing because she's like, everybody in town thinks you're amazing, so I'm selling loads of this shit. But yeah, no, absolutely. But while they're drunk, he is mumbling to himself as he's falling asleep about Luo Alien and how much he regrets what happens. So she kisses him. She reassures him that Luo Alien is right there and she forgives him, and then spends 3 episodes gaslighting him. Did you not say this when I was drunk? No, you were on your own when you were drunk. I was in there. Are you sure? You remember how you looked at that thing on my desk that Luo Alien gave me and you were really surprised that it was there? What was that about? Nothing. I was just surprised you had a broken piece of jade on your desk.
Damn.
Hey, you know how you're totally Luo. And the frustrating thing is I haven't even got notes on this. I just watched the episode where she finally comes clean. And it's literally the same conversation they've had like 5 times, except this time.
But this time around she says yes.
Fine, yes.
No way.
It's so anticlimactic.
What the fuck?
Anyway, at this point in the story, dear listeners, I'm going on way too long. I'm sorry. At this point in the story, her brother decides he's in love with her on a fucking dime. He just decides that he's in love with this person that, again, if you remember, he spent several episodes saying, you have to be exactly like my sister.
Exactly like my sister.
And who has his sister's face. He decides he's in love with her. And at first you're going, no, this isn't what they're doing. Clearly he's just being protective. He doesn't think that Chung Fung is a good match for her. He's trying to protect her. No. And they have the Lantern Festival episode, and he ruins it by being incesty and getting jealous.
Ew.
And so we then spend like whole episodes of it's meant to be a love triangle. And I finally stopped, in fact, when Evil Prince was like, what we're going to do is we're going to use this love triangle. Because her brother had it announced to the world that Shen Danqing wasn't his real sister, she's an adopted sister. Which means that not only was he trying to set it up that he would get her as his wife, he is dishonoring his dead sister's memory by saying, "Oh no, she was always adopted because I want to fuck this chick." He's irredeemable. And if he isn't a bad guy in the final episode, they have made it so much worse because it only makes sense if. And now I know there is a cultural aspect here. That there is a huge amount of separation between women and men in China the whole way throughout their lives. So that same with Japan, and same in the 1800s in England. It's why 1800s porn is so freaking weird. They are the only exposure they have to people is siblings or occasionally first cousins. And I know that is still therefore a cultural thing where it's not as revolting as it is certainly here. But the only way you can do an incest storyline is if the guy's going to turn out, or the person who is instigating it is actually a villain. And because the actor has an excellent brooding face, I hope he plays an emperor at some point. He could do a very good petulant emperor, because even in his like glamour shots, he looks very petulant. He does it so believably as somebody who has got an obsession and has absolutely no awareness of the fact that this obsession is wrong. Absolutely no. I'm not going to lay this aside because that's essentially, yeah. But it's really obvious, and it's just like
you all might not get this, but like I said, I stopped at like episode 6, and Holly has not told me anything about any of this. So I'm hearing this the same time y'all are hearing this. He did what?
Yeah.
What the?
And it's dropped into a line of like, oh look, he's made an announcement that Shen Dan-Qing is actually his adoptive sister. They must be in a love triangle, which I feel like the actor was like, can you just give me a scene? It was it's really bad. And then at this point, happens after she's managed to put Zhua out of business. And so Zhua's got a little side plot going on. But to be honest, I tried to care. I tried, but, and I'll go into this after Nori has gone through her show, but like the incompetence started at the casting and it's all the way down. These guys were amazing in a show called Hello, I'm at Your Service, which is an inexperienced boss coming in to an office building and a contract worker who is trying to be as pleasing as possible in order to get her company asked back and put on a permanent contract. And even in a situation like that, which you would expect to be, oh, this is so cringy, oh God, this is so subservient, he is always on the back foot, and he does it very well. He's one of the few Chinese leads in a contemporary show who didn't make me want to punch him in the face, because he absolutely nails that. I'm not in power in this situation. You are in power in this situation. All I want to do is make you like me as much as I like you. But if you don't, I will accept that. And you believe it because he does. He backs off like twice and she gets really confused. It's adorable. That show, I 100% recommend. Both leads are absolutely fantastic. Zhula was fantastic in this show. She did really, really well with the historical stuff. But there is no imagination in this show. It is paint by numbers C-drama. And I don't know if it was a case of like, hey, we're both free. We want to do a historical drama. Give us one. And they were like, oh, this script. Yeah, this is half done. We'll use this. And then they filled in the rest with, oh, what will happen next? Prince will come to town. Oh, what will happen next? Oh, he'll go meet with an old wise guy. It doesn't feel like a coherent story, or even like...
It's not a cohesive story. It doesn't feel cohesive. What on earth? It feels like a patchwork of ideas. Like somebody just pulled out like a board and was like, okay, just let's put everything on the board and we'll find a way to make sure that they all fit into like 25 episodes or something. Because what the fuck?
And like, I think that if it had been a Korean show, they would have finished it after about 16 episodes. They wouldn't have needed the brother to be incestuous, because they're not like, oh no, we needed love triangle, but we don't only have 7 characters. There's no creativity in the way it's directed, the way it's filmed. There is no creativity. And never once in this show did I go, oh God, I need this soundtrack. You know? All the way down. It's just, it is the cinematic equivalent of eating porridge. Like, it's there.
Ooh.
It'll fill you for now. Right? Anyway, Noria, save us from this mediocrity and tell us about the double.
Okay, so my drama, which actually, to be fair, Ollie actually did watch because I convinced her, and I'm happy that I convinced her because she had a blast. Like, I had a blast. This is a drama that I watched over a weekend. I remember I was watching it and I was sending notes. Yes, people, this was before we agreed that the double and Lady Revenger were going to be our first episodes. If not, I probably would not have been sending messages to Holly every 2 seconds. But I'm happy I did, because I was able to convince her to watch the show. Now, like Holly already teased you all, the show I got was the double. And no, I'm not referring to the 2013 British thriller film that was directed by Richard Ayoade. That's the one that has Jesse Eisenberg in it. Nope. This one, the double, is amazingly enough, right? Because okay, I don't want to go into all that detail just yet because I'm still going to talk about the characters and exactly how they fit in the role, like, you know, Holly has done. But the double stars two people. Actually, the entire cast is great. But we have the story of the double follows the love of my life, my baby girl, Zhong Fangfei, right? Who is played amazingly well by Wu Jinyong. Now, and of course, the indomitable, the incorrigible, the irreplaceable, the fantastically brilliant, the absolutely delicious Zhao Heng, who we call Dukisu. Actually, everybody calls him Duxu, but like Duxu is played by Wang Xingjue. And how can I describe the perfection of this casting? There are so many ways in which I could go about it. But first, let me go briefly into a summary of the double of the show. I'm not going to go into it like episodic because I wasn't really taking my notes down in an episodic format. I will do that for the next episode. But for this one, just a quick, not quick, but like a summary. It's a short summary of events in the show, right? So we basically follow Zhou Fangfei. Zhou Fangfei is known in the capital as this beautiful, virtuous, talented, did I mention beautiful? Absolutely stunning married woman, right? And now a lot of you are like, girl, I thought you all said romance. Like, what do you mean by there are two main characters? How is Zhou Fangfei married? Yes, because see, the double did one thing in a C-drama I did not expect. Zhou Fangfei is a divorcee or a widow. Not really a widow. We can't even call her a widow. Basically,
I mean, technically, we can't call her a divorcee either.
We can, right? So what? Should we call her a divorcee? They didn't get a divorce.
Launch forth into story, and we'll work out the terms as it becomes becomes necessary.
Awesome. Okay, we'll clarify later on, right? So, who was married? Keyword. Please note the word I said was. Who was married to the spineless social climbing parasite? Can you all tell that I cannot stand our ex-husband? Social climbing, pathetic wet dog of an ex-husband called Shen Yurong. Shen Yurong is everything that is wrong about this world, as far as I'm concerned. The entirety. There are so many things that went wrong in the world of the double. Not with regards to story. The story is perfection. I'm just saying that there are a lot of ills in this world, and I hold Shen Yurong responsible because there is nothing like a faithless piece of shit. Like, imagine being married to a faithless piece of shit. Now, that is Shen Yurong. And now you're like, but Noria, what happened to Shen Yurong? Well, you see, Shen Yurong caught the eye of the delectable. Wait, hold up. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to see who played Shen Yurong again.
Oh God, I sent you an infographic. I do not have that information with me.
I know, right? Because I'm trying to look at the. I'm trying to remember.
You carry on, I know it's acted in
some.
And I will.
Is acted in some movies.
And I will tell you.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Is this okay? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, let me continue. Shen Yurong caught the attention of the brilliant, utterly brilliant person, right? That is Princess Wanning. Princess Wanning, like, she is bae. She is amazing. Oh yes, Liang Yongqi. Liang Yongqi is the one that plays Shen Yurong. And I'd like to point out that once again, the casting for the double is 100 over 100 because
he was superb.
He is such a good actor. He was so good. He oscillated between wet dog and you're pathetic. And then the next thing, he will say something or do something like, oh yes, Zhou Fangfei, I want to marry you again. You have no choice. And you want to enter the show and strangle him. Like, you can understand why she's looking at him like, I want to fucking kill you because he's that much of an ass. Anyway, so I'm digressing. I'm going to digress a lot. I apologize, everybody, in advance. I do have ADHD brain, so my brain goes all over the place. As I was saying, the amazing Princess Wanning is played by the fantastic Lee Mong. Lee Mong is... there is a way in which Princess Wanning embodies the role that gives you that psychotic, but she wants love, but she would destroy everything in her path that would keep her from getting said love, that makes you pity her, but also want to see her downfall, but you don't want to punch her in the face like you want to do So Shen Yu wrong. Like, that is the one that deserves a punch in the face. So, Princess Wanning, who sees Shen Yu wrong, who, by the way, is, he just, like, I'm going to jump back and forth. Now, the double does present its information in a sequential manner. It's not all over the place the way in which Princess Revenger did theirs, right? So there is an order and a flow, but I am just going to go back and forth because I want to give all of you like a full-on understanding.
It's one of those things where like they do roll. Whereas Revenger, like, it's just badly written. With the double, it's more of a case of like they give you more information as the show goes on, because it starts in a flash. And they do give you more context, and you don't get all the context until the very end, and you're like, oh,
until the very end.
But you still deserve to be
and then
punched.
You're piecing, and you're piecing everything together. But it just feels like the more you learn about these characters, the more the show is like, okay, you've learned enough about this person. Let me give you another muscle for you to nibble on, for you to understand this particular character a bit deeper. And it's done wonderfully well. So, Shen Yu Rong just finished taking the examination, right? The imperial examination, which is called very in, right? Got the the acknowledgement of the emperor. It was either number 1 or number 2. Now, what a lot of people do not know is that the part of the person who helped him study and help him come up with some of the laws, some of the responses he gave, is his darling wife, Zui Fangfei. Because Zui Fangfei's father is a magister at a smaller province. So a lot of the questions that were asked on those exams with regards governance are things that she's familiar with by virtue of the fact that her father is a fucking G. I am mentioning her father because this is going to come very important. It's going to be very important later on in this story. So we have Zui Fangfei, who is the loyal wife, the beautiful wife, the obedient wife. But this we learn much later, because the double starts with what seems like a most horrific case of events. Zui Fangfei, after having dinner with her in-laws, goes into the bedroom, wakes up, and she finds herself in bed with a man who is most certainly not her husband.
Not
as punchable. That boy looks like a child. I looked at him and I'm like, boy, someone ought to send you home to your mother. But so she wakes up, she's like, what the hell is this dude? And she's screaming, but her screams bring her mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who come dramatically, and they're like, oh, you cheating skank. You're cheating on my son, brother, whatever. And she's like, what the fuck? I don't know this person. But no, they're like, we have been embarrassed. Our family is ruined. Zui Fangfei has ruined us. Oh, she's cheapened. She's destroyed the reputation of her husband. And so they demand that her husband kill her, as punishment for her defiling their marital bed. I am taking several
totally breaths. Legal, absolutely.
Totally legal. And then the husband comes and he touches her. He has that wet dog expression. She's over here like, oh my God, I love you. This could never happen, blah, 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 and everything else. And she initially thinks that this piece of shit guy believes her, but no, he does not, because spoiler alert, he basically knocks her unconscious. By the time she comes to, he's taking her up a mountain because this piece of shit has decided that he wants to bury her alive. Yes, the love of her life wants to bury her alive. I'm stating all of this so you all understand just the level, because personally, I consider myself a grudge bearer, and Shen Yu Rong did so many things. I just was like, if I hear that this man is even remotely forgiven in this drama. I personally would have found the address of the writer and sent a very strongly worded letter. Like I would have found somebody to translate it, to help me write it, so that, I'm like, in all the languages, just in case the writer is like, oh, I do not understand this. No, you need to understand. Anyway, sorry. Once again, I'm losing my train of thought. So he goes over there and he's going to bury her. And when she's going to, her father and her brother, because she has a younger brother, her father and her younger brother are going to find justice for her. He drops the news and it's like, oh, your father and brother are dead. Sorry. The same person who is making me kill you. And this is a key word, because he keeps saying the person who is making me kill you is somebody that is so much stronger. I cannot do this. I cannot not do this because that is what she wants. That particular statement speaks a lot to the psyche and the type of person that Shen Yurong is, because it gives us a teaser, an understanding. It foreshadows that this is a man that would never take responsibility for anything he's doing. Please note that as he is pouring sand over, like he hits her repeatedly, as he's pouring sand over the body of his still alive wife, he's telling her that, I'm sorry, I have to kill you. This woman needs me to kill you. This woman has already murdered your brother and your father. There's nothing to do. Zofenfei is rightfully pissed and all of that. He hits her again with the shovel, buries her, and then wanders away. But wait, I think he leaves. Does he not leave like a bracelet or some sort? He leaves like a bracelet.
Leaves his little flute that he used to play.
Yes. He leaves a little flute. Very important, because you see, he's a musician. They are both musicians, right? Because of course it's ancient Chinese drama, and basically learning that the art of playing a musical instrument is part of becoming an educated scholar. And remember, like I said, her father was a magister, sure, in a smaller province, but he did try to give her the best of education that he can. Also very important, because this will come in oh my God. Yeah, I was thinking I was going to be shorter than Holly. I might not be shorter than Holly.
It's hard, isn't it?
The next episode, yeah, I'm telling you, the next episode, we need to be like, okay, how exactly do we like fit in the summary of this entire drama into like 15 minutes max each? Anyway,
we're gonna have to script it, aren't we?
Yeah, we must. I was because Holly was like, "Oh, we could pull it off in like an hour," and I was like, "Holly, we're never gonna pull this off in an hour." And she was convinced that we're going to do it in an hour.
I was. I was sure. I was like, I should have had a timer in front of myself.
She was like, she can, and I'm like, we cannot make it in an hour. Okay, so back to Zue Fangfei. Right, like I said, so he leaves her the flute he used to play while she, played is it a zither? Is it a zither she was playing?
The qilin in Chinese. Zither is usually how it's translated in English.
Yes, so it's not a zither.
No, it's not. It's called qilin, but British people can't pronounce chi.
Okay.
So it gets translated to zither. But yeah.
Okay, so it's qilin. So, she plays, he plays, and they always like have this husband-wife type harmonies going. That's their thing. And so I like to point out, to show you how Shen Yurong is an audacious piece of shit. He buries her with the one instrument that is meant to remind her of happier times. And I'm like, you just betrayed her on such a fundamental level, because he
couldn't even give her a quick death because he wouldn't take responsibility for killing her.
Because he wouldn't take responsibility, because he keeps shaking at the thought of killing her. So he buries her alive, right? After, by the way, admitting that, oh yeah, she was set up with the whole man in her bed thing. So she knows fully well that this man has ruined her reputation, has decided like they're going to run the whole story that, she cheated on him, which was why he killed her. And then, basically ruins both her reputation and the reputation of her family. And then he still had the audacity to leave his fucking ass flute by her death side. If I was a ghost, I would haunt him for the rest of my fucking life. If I was Zue Fangfei's ghost, I would haunt him. But thankfully, Zue Fangfei does not die, because Shen Yurong is incompetent in a lot of things, including attempting to kill his wife. Because he digs the most shallow ass grave. which means that when it rained, all that topsoil was gone. And Zoe Fang-Fei clawed her way out of hell. And that was when all of this, mind you, is happening in episode 1. And I'm over here and I'm rooting and I'm like, girl, find me justice. So, she crawls away, but of course, she's hurt, she's injured, she's disoriented and everything else. And when she gets to this riverside, right, she's discovered by another character, Zoe Lee, who is called Jiang Li, right? Very important because remember, Zoe Fang-Fei, right? Also, her, the diminutive form of her name, the way in which like those who like her, who love her, family, and what we would consider eventually her lovers would call her is Ali, right? But there's a play on her Ali, which is different from Jiang Li's Ali, and that comes in very important with regards to romance, which was done spectacularly well. I swear, like, so good. So Jiang Li goes to the river with her maid Tonger, and that is where they stumble upon Zoe Fang-Fei, right? So they help Zoe Fang-Fei. Jiang Li goes, to try and get her food, like, try and basically keep her warm and everything else. But she's currently in some strict convent-like place. Why is she in a strict convent-like place? Because you see, these two characters, these two people in this drama have been designed to just punished needlessly. So Jiang Li is the first daughter of one of the senior members of court, right? Who is it
secretary? He's something
secretary. Yes.
General head of the secretariat. He's not
head of the secretariat. Yes, sorry. Because I know he's like a very senior position, right? So she's the daughter of the head of the secretariat, Jiang Yongbu. Now, he is a piece of shit because she was his first daughter, right? With his wife who he loved, who passed away under mysterious circumstances. Of course, we know that she was poisoned, but she passes away under mysterious circumstances. And so his new wife, Jishuran, comes in, has her own daughter, Royal, who is a knockout, very pretty girl. She happens to be the person in Lady Revenger, by the way, the first daughter. Yes. I personally think that she was reborn. Because when I saw her, I'm like, oh shit. You see, after all the trouble you caused my darling Zoe Fang-Fei in the double, your ass was reborn into Lady Revenger, so you know what it feels like to be the main character.
And it's such a huge difference in that she's a very beautiful girl, but the difference between her performance in one and the other is night and day. That's how we know it's the director who was at fault.
Yes.
Because you've got this direct comparison of actors.
Definitely the director. Anyway, so Yonbo, Jishuran, of course, is the evil stepmother, and she really, really, really embodies the role perfectly. Like, when somebody is like, oh shit, you were made to have this face that we all hate, but we also understand why you're like this, but also, woman, how, why are you like this? Anyway, so that she's the one that plays Jishuran is over here like, okay, clearly first daughter is basically taking on this role that she does not want her to, i.e. she's going to have all the attention, and she wants that to be something that goes to her own daughter. So she basically fakes this. I had a miscarriage. I was carrying a boy. And you see, Jiang Li got so jealous. And when she tried to hug me, she pushed me. And I fell and I had a miscarriage. For those of you that are like, wait, oh look, how long has Jiang Li been in this convent? She's been in the convent since she was 5. And then you might be like, okay, so how old is she now? You're like, oh, she's 19. Now you might be like, okay, so what this drama, and not the drama, but like the people around her stepmother are trying to tell us is that they believe that a 5-year-old had the upper body strength to push a grown adult woman who is pregnant, to push her down to the with enough force that she miscarries. The answer to that is yes. The answer to that is yes. So because of that, they're like, oh, Jiangli, how could you do such a thing? How could you do such a thing? Why would you hurt your mother in such a terrible, horrible, horrible way? And so, they send her off to the convent where she's been for like almost 15 years, practically grew up there and aged there. Nobody has seen her since she was 5.
She hasn't eaten protein in all that time. They have to go out and gather twigs on their own to cook caught food or foraged food. It's like they hammer it down hard that she has spent all this time being beaten and abused and physically beaten. Like, I'm not just like not being spanked. No, beaten in the way that the military are beaten.
Yeah, we would even get to the beating, because the beating is very important, right? So she's been beaten a lot. She's been starved. She and Tonghair, our servants, used to like save for like an entire year for them to buy a couple of sweets. That is how miserable the daughter of the head of the secretariat has been living in that convent, forgotten by every single person in her family, including her grandmother. This will come in this is important information for you all to know, coming in much later, and I need to pick it up, because if not, please know that all of this is like the first 2 episodes of the show, by the way, and this is a 40-episode show, so clearly I cannot keep going at this rate. I'm just giving the summary of what happens up until when we release her into the wild, and then we can just talk about, because I don't want to, just in case any of you have not watched the double, I would just say that all of this spoiler part is maybe like the first 5 episodes, so that you can actually enjoy the show, because I recommend it. Holly and I recommend it, hands down.
There will be spoiler stuff later, though, because I've now watched it and I haven't talked to Noria about it, and I need to talk to Noria about it.
Okay. So, where did I stop? Oh yeah, so she's trying to help Zofang Fei, but because she's in this very strict convent, and apparently part of the convent is that they have to be celibate, because they're like, there's no way, there's a monastery nearby, you all are not about to like come back with like pregnancies and stuff. Very important also, the monastery, the monastery that is nearby, you all cannot be having any form of sexual affairs. Very important, and will come in, because the hypocrisy is something that is a constant theme in the entire show. So, Jiangli is forbidden from leaving the convent, even though she wants to leave so that she can give Zofang Fei some food. So she sneaks out in the middle of the night to go do so. Some other annoying ass, twiggy ass girl in the convent who has always been jealous, and those goody two shoes, like if it is that you ever went to like a strict school, there are certain, you probably had that one classmate that never minded their fucking business, but like were the teacher's pet. And part of being the teacher's pet is that they absolutely needed to tell on your ass, because 1, it made them look good or better than you, and 2, they just lived for you being punished, right? And I personally always see it as is because they really, even as children, they didn't have a lot going in their lives. So, unfortunately for Jiangli, there was somebody in the convent like that, and that person basically ratted her out. And so she was caught trying to go out. They kept asking her. Now, once again, for story reasons. Now, there are some story reasons plot that makes you roll your eyes, but you understand it and you're like, you know what, I can forgive it because it's still okay. Lady Revenger has the extreme version of this that made me very irritated. But the double had it in a way that I was like, okay, this does not make any sense, but I must still roll with it. Because conveniently, Jiangli refuses to be like, there is an injured girl I want to go rescue. We are never really told
it wouldn't work.
Why.
They established that it wouldn't work, kind of thing. Whereas in Revenger, it would have been a case of, I'm just not going to tell you. Like it's the difference between an intricately woven tapestry and your child giving you their first cross stitch that they've just finished.
Okay, makes sense. So Jiangli could not tell, also because, like, Ollie has mentioned, she wouldn't have been believed anyway. So And this is where Ollie's point about her being punished like military style comes in, because they whack her over and over and over and over again with this big giant piece of log. Like, it is massive. They are beating her. You can hear the thumb of this thing supposedly hitting human flesh. She's bleeding. And the piece of shit woman that like is in charge of the, of the convent doesn't stop. Beats her until she basically loses consciousness. Right? Now, please note, remember what we said. This is the daughter of the chief of the head of the magistrate, right? So clearly her father is a very important figure. But because for over a decade and a half she's been abandoned, everybody kind of forgot about that, which will come in very handy in a bit. So Zhefang Fei is hungry, tired. She's thinking about the girl that said she was going to come and see her. And, she starts wandering around and stumbles upon the convent because, of course, the convent is close by. That's how Jiang Li was able to find her in the first place. And conveniently, there are no guards or anything, which, once again, they're in the middle of nowhere. So it's a believable part of the story that, of course, there wouldn't be like sentinels keeping guard or keeping watch and all of that. So she wanders in and sees Jiang Li, who at this point is on the brink of death. She's about to die. Like, which is believable, because if anybody was whacking me that hard, best believe that I am on my way to see my ancestors with a quickness. I will not even wait to have any conversation with any Zhefang Fei. I am going because I am tattling on my father, my stepmother, my grandmother, my stupid ass sister. I'm tattling on every single person in that family with a quickness to my ancestors. I'm like, y'all will not believe. You see that raggedy ass son, great-great-grandson of yours? This is what they did to me, and this is what they did to me. I am reporting. I am full on tattling. But Jiang Li is a better person than me. So she stayed long enough to, basically convey her wishes, her pain, the injustice she suffered. She tells Zhefang Fei everything. And so Zhefang Fei then decides that she's going to take revenge for both herself and Jiang Li, because she's going to take over Jiang Li's identity. Now, a lot of you are like, yo, identity, kind of like with Lady Revenger? Yes, which is why we are pairing both dramas together. But you see, whereas Lady Revenger had it all like, oh, there was some sort of cosmetic surgery, the double did not bother with that, right? Sorry, excuse me. The double did not bother with that, because remember, they've established that the last time anybody in Jiang Li's life saw her, she was 5. So it's believable that she could have grown and looked anyhow. Everybody they don't know what her life was like for the 15 16 years, or rather for the 10 12 years that she's not been around, right? So it's believable. But then all of you are like, okay, but what about those in the convent? Like, clearly they know adult Jiang Li. Yeah. So remember where I mentioned that her father was like chief of the secretariat, like the head of the secretariat, i.e. a very, 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 very important position. Like, her father is one of the, the members that shows up when the king calls for a meeting. With the full red robes regalia. Is that important in ancient China? And now she's dead by the hands of the stupid ass woman who is the head of the convent. So now the woman is panicking. She's panicking. The girl, the tattletale, they are panicking together, because that one initially does not understand exactly the scale of the fuck up that they've currently put themselves in. But like the chief warden, I call her a chief warden because she runs that convent like it's a fucking prison. She knows that she's terrified, and that is where Zhefang Fei comes with her proposition. The chief warden would agree to the ruse whereby Zhefang Fei gets to take on Jiang Li's identity, seeing that her parents, Jiang Li's father and stepmother have not seen her since she was like what 5-7. They can both agree that they are not going to recognize her because clearly she's now a woman, she's now full grown, they won't be able to tell and all of that. So but for Zoe Fei to pull it off, she needs the warden to agree. Now remember what I said about Tonge being the maid that was with Jiang Li, the actual Jiang Li, the one that is now dead. Tonge is initially angry because she's like, this is the woman that my mistress died to save. What do you mean? Why are you conniving with the warden? Blah blah blah. And Zofan Fei is like, girl, trust me, I got you. My goal is to make sure that every single person that messed with Jiang Li, that sweet, sweet soul, they are all going to suffer, starting with that stupid ass warden that thinks she got away with it. Now, what is Zofan Fei's plan? And I'm getting to the part where I'm going to wrap up like me talking about like the summary of the first couple of episodes of this show. What is Zoe Fang Fei's plan? Her plan is pretty simple. It's like, okay, so remember when I said that the warden was all like everybody has to be chaste and pure, and there's no, nobody's having sex because you all are in a convent, you're meant to be that. Like that is also meant to extend to her. But the warden is a young, sexy woman. And Zoe Fang Fei notices that this woman is wearing perfume. If she's not getting some, who is she trying to seduce with the perfume? Remember, Zoe Fang Fei was married. And this is another thing. Like, this is a C drama where there are no there's no pretending. Zoe Fang Fei is a woman that has had sex, that has had good sex, right? So she brings, well,
sorry,
honestly, to be fair,
my comment is the idea of like there's no way that Shen Yurong let his wife come first.
Exactly, because I just thought about it. I'm like, no, but to her at that point, she probably thought that it was good sex, sex. Because she's not met Juksu yet, so she's convinced that she's had good sex. It's probably sweet sex, they were probably both virgins, their first time, all of that and everything. So she's had sex. She's a woman that has experience. And that is how she's, processing things, right? And then she's like, nah, this warden is absolutely not celibate whatsoever. She's not even abstaining from shit. I can tell this woman is getting some, like, on a steady. And so she tracks her and then sets things up. So when this group of, like, women that come to, those older official, the wives of the officials, right, in court, come to because remember I said that there's a monastery close to the convent and stuff. So like they come over to the monastery to say prayers and all of that. Zoe Fang Fei is like already watching everything, and she notices that there's a signal that the warden seems to give to somebody at the monastery, which by the way is filled with all men. The convent is filled with all women. And so she notices that there's a signal that the warden does. And at that point in time, that is when the male visitor who likes to dress up like a really tall woman shows up to, service he shows up to service the warden's needs. And so, but of course, the warden was not planning on calling her lover on the day when the wives of the palace officials were going to be around, because that's just a bad idea. Zoe Fang Fei considers that a great way, because she's telling Tonge that, okay, let's get ready. We're leaving now. Thank you very much. Remember what I said. Zoe Fang Fei is smart. Part of the grades that her husband got can actually be attributed to her. And the story actually treats her like somebody that is fairly intelligent, right? Not this person is meant to be intelligent, and you're like, but an intelligent person would actually make intelligent choices. Like, she does actually make intelligent choices. In some instances, the instances when she doesn't, you understand why, because like Holly mentioned, it's a tightly woven story where there's a justification for certain decisions that are taken. So Zoe Fang Fei basically sets it up whereby she gives out the signal. The person for the monastery shows up to service the warden's needs. The warden is like, what the fuck? Why are you here? It's like, but you gave out the signal. She's like, I didn't give out any signal. But like, she has the perfume on. She has needs. He's right there. And she has convinced herself that because, the wives of the the wives of the officials they've gone to bed for the night, so she thinks she can get away with it. And so, they go on about like they're having sexy times. Meanwhile, Zhuofang Fei has sent Tonge to call one of the officials' wives, who happened to be a very close friend, a very good friend of Jiang Li's birth mother. Remember, Jiang Li's birth mother died when she was a baby, like shortly after she had her. And then Li Shuren, who is a stepmother, came in and things got messy. But like this woman, she basically calls that has Tonge call the woman. The woman is a bit, wary, because remember, Li Shuren has been pushing the narrative that Jiang Li is this feral child who was so jealous that she basically assaulted her. So this Jiang Li's Zhuofang Fei, actually no, I'm going to be alternating Zhuofang Fei and Jiang Li, right? Because she takes on Jiang Li's identity. But Jiang Li's mother's friend shows up, right? Like Zhuofang Fei had asked on her to bring her to her. And conveniently, of course, Zhuofang Fei basically shows the bruises of some of the beatings that Jiang Li ideally should have received, because like she basically asks, she has Tonge beat her so that, the injury is believable and everything else. And so when when her Jiang Li's mother's friend sees the injuries, she remembers, her friend. She's like, how on earth is this happening to the daughter of my friend, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes off to go challenge the warden. Now, Jiang Li is like, okay, she's going to go, go to another room, stay there and all of that, whilst all of this is going down, because she's still pretending. She wants to pretend to be like, I have no idea, even though everybody, like, we, the viewers, and of course the warden, will know that she's directly responsible for all of this. And while she's there, somebody shows up. It's Duxu. Duxu, who, how do I explain Duxu? How do I explain Duxu? How I love you, Duxu. Let me count your ways. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit back. Remember, I've taken you all as to how Zhuofang Fei ends up in that particular room with some person that Duxu is chasing because he's trying to solve a salt mystery. Remember, at this point in ancient China, salt is like currency, and it's meant to be tightly controlled by the emperor. But then there are people that are basically siphoning some of the
it's salt, gold, and iron were the three things that were completely controlled by the court. And if you were found smuggling or mining any of those three items, it's automatic treason.
It's automatic treason. So like Duxu was currently trying to solve that mystery, because the person he chased all the way to that monastery, who made his way into the convent because he's trying to avoid Duxu, is somebody that with like crucial information, right? Also happens to be the son of somebody pretty high up, because that way you already know that, of course, all the shady business, the court officials are directly involved in it. Now, I'm gonna take you a couple of episodes at the start, right, to our introduction of Duxu. Now, first time we see Duxu is observing Shen Yurong, because Duxu is like, he has the heart of the audience. He has the eyes of the audience. He has the suspicions of the audience, because Duxu, our first introduction is when Shen Yurong, after that murdering piece of shit, waste of space, spineless piece of shit. Yes, how many times am I going to call him piece of shit? Yes. That spineless coward, after he supposedly murdered his wife, he then pretended to do this very loud burial, like funeral rites, and all of that. And people are like, oh my God, Shen Yurong is such a good man. Even after his wife cheated on him and humiliated him in such way, with like by bringing another man to their marital bed, look at him, he's still honoring her. Duxu, though, with his two trusty sidekicks, looks at Shen Yurong, and he has two sidekicks. One of them is, one of them basically is the type of person that believes, right? He's the oh, you poor boy. Of course, you're going to believe any nonsense, right? So that's Wenji. So is Duxu or Zhou has two subordinates. There's Wenji and there's Luji. Wenji is the one that basically finds himself believing all of this information. He's slightly gullible, right? So he actually buys that, oh my god, Shen Yu Rong is really has been wronged. Yes, I did that on purpose. Shen Yu Rong has been wronged. Look at him. He's actually honoring his cheating wife, right? He's such a pious man. And Luji, who is the more stern-faced one, is like, huh. And which kind of echoes Zhou Heng, that's Duxu's temperament. And then Dusu is like, yeah, that is what he wants you to believe. And Wenji's like, oh my god, really? It's all a lie? Luji's like, duh, of course. So now we can already establish that Zhou Heng sees right through Shen Yurong and all the pretenses, right? Because remember, word on the street in the capital is that Shen Yurong's wife, Zhuo Fengfei, is cultured and beautiful and amazing. So everybody knows that about her, but nobody's really seen her except for Zhou Heng, who caught a glimpse of her one time when she went to buy something close to the house. But she had on a bit of a veil and all of that. I personally think it's to add to the allure because, of course, nobody's buying that knife meant to hide her face. It's not hiding shit. It's just making her more alluring for anybody that happens to see her. But this is Chinese drama. So, of course, that is what we get, right? It adds to all of that. So, that's the first time we see him. The second time we see him, he nabs the people that are smuggling salt in their warehouse and comes with
in the most melodramatic fashion he possibly can.
The most I thought I do not know how to sit properly on a chair until I realized that I am a learner. I am a baby. I am a child. I need to go to the school of how to sit on a chair like fucking Duxu. Because first, it comes in all dramatic, flying with his robes, his red robe, always red and black, his red robes billowing. You see, like the way in which, Holly was like, that general was not believable as a general. I am telling you all, right? I am telling you all that Wang Zunye as, Duxu, as Zhou Heng, I felt
flawless
it.
casting.
I believe. Oh my God! You could be like, that is such. You're like, yeah, it definitely fits because they did not try and pretend that it's old. They're like, he's the youngest duke in history because of certain things that happened with his father, but he has that charisma. He bears it. Like you can tell he has that weight of that office on his shoulders. He's hated, he's reviled, he's feared because he is the person that cannot be controlled. He's always like, he's always taking like stands that nobody can actually predict. It's pretty unpredictable. That's just his stick. That's his shtick, and everybody knows, right? So he makes this dramatic ass entrance, practically flying, and then he crosses his legs over the top of a fucking chair. And that's how he sits. And you're over here like, that is the most sluttiest entrance. That is the most sluttiest way to sit on a chair. So yes, like Duxu is extra slutty, and we love him for it.
You have to see him to believe it.
It's just like
anytime this boy is on screen, and I'm 6 foot, okay, I don't like guys who are smaller than me, who are thinner than me, but this boy, oh my God.
He's amazing. So that's the second time we're introduced to him and all of that. He's already preparing to grill those that they found, and of course everybody's already shaking in their boots because they know that they're about to die or they're about to go to prison because this unpredictable motherfucker is now on their ass, except for one person who escaped. So that is the person that Duxu chases all the way to the monastery and then the convent. And so this person shows up, right, with Zhou Fengfei and is all like, oh, my partner, blah, blah, blah. Zhou Fengfei is initially going along with it, but eventually, she's like, I'm saving my neck. I have no idea about this. And basically ends up being all like, I'm innocent, Zuxu, this is all your fault. So she finds a way to basically play Duxu to force his hand into arresting her. Because
fortunately, it turns out that's his love language.
Exactly. Like, them having verbal sparring and them pitting their, like, pitting her intelligence against his really, 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 really is his love language. Like he sees her and he's hooked from that very first episode, and she just keeps proving him right that yes, he should pay attention to her because she is just one of a kind and amazing. Now she has realized that to make sure that not only like, because at that moment in time, and this shows you how quick a thinker Zhou Fangfei is, because she's figured out that just in case the official's wife does not have the full force to immediately take her to the capital, which would have been the case, because she would have been like, okay, let me go to the capital, tell your father about what is happening so that I can come and get you. That would have been the line of attack, right? But if she's able to convince Duke Su that she's an accomplice, but that she knows something about this whole salt smuggling business, he will take her to the capital to interrogate her. But because she's a woman, he's not going to use force. But she would be in the capital, and she already figures that because of the kind of person that the head of the secretariat is, it would find it too humiliating to have his firstborn child held as a suspect in a salt smuggling case, which would mean that her father would have no choice but to come and get Jiang Li. All these thoughts Zhou Fangfei has in those micro minutes when she's being held at knife point, and she makes the play. And Duke Su, who recognizes that she's had all of these thoughts and is aware that she's using him because she clearly wants to be in the capital, is charmed. And so goes along with it. And that is how Zhou Fangfei then leaves the convent. And of course, they basically arrest the warden, because all that whole sending her Jiang Li's mother's friend over, who catches the warden about to get down on sexy times with someone from the monastery, which, like we said, is against the law because they are meant to be, keeping their chastity. Everybody is bundled over to the capital, including Zhou Fangfei, and now she arrives there under the name or an identity of Jiang Li, ready to take vengeance for that baby girl. So that is where I am going to stop with regards the episode by episode breakdown, because I have been talking for almost an hour, you all. I apologize. But
and honestly, like, it's such a good show. I would honestly say this is one of my top 5 that I would always recommend if someone was like, what are the best C-dramas? Which one should I watch?
Yes. To get them started. Absolutely, 100%. Like, that is a drama where there was not an episode where I was like, okay, I'm bored, because 40 was just a nice, good number. They kept the tension, they kept the pace. So just to like wrap that up, right? So Zhou Fangfei, who is now going by the name Jiang Li because of the identity that she's taking on, is focused on getting vengeance for Jiang Li with regards to her abusive family that ignored her. She's focused on clearing her name, because remember, Shen Yurong, as basically because of somebody that is in love with, she at the start does not know that the person who wants Shen Yurong and wanted her out of the picture is Princess Wanning, who fell in love with Zhou Fangfei's husband, and so therefore wanted Zhou Fangfei's husband for herself, hence why all this subterfuge happened. So Zhou Fangfei is back in the city as Jiang Li to get vengeance for Jiang Li, and also to get vengeance for herself, like clear her name, clear her family's name, come to the aid of her father and her brother. Because remember, at this point, she's convinced that Shen Yurong has told her like they died and all of that. So she wants to find out what happened to them, get vengeance and justice, because clearly it's the same person that wanted her dead, that planned to have her family killed as well. And interestingly enough, her path and everything that she wants resolved leads her, or basically has her aligning and crossing path with Duke Su, because their interests and their investigations overlap in a way where they end up helping each other, and in so doing end up falling in love as they come to the realization that their enemies are pretty similar. So that is the very, very long, oh my God, long summary synopsis of The Double. Holly.
Yeah, we're going to have to do short synopses in the future. There are stuff I desperately want to talk about The Double. that
Please
I
do.
will say at this point, a lot of it is going to be spoilerish. I genuinely recommend that you pause and come back to if you're somebody who watches C-dramas but you haven't seen the double. If you're just along for the ride and you enjoyed listening to us chat while doing whatever you're doing, no worries. But at this point, I need to get spoilery because there are things I need to rant about.
Okay.
So one of the things I just want to talk about because I felt really clever for noticing it is that Wan Ning and Shui Fanfei have colors. And Wan Ning's color is red. And Shui Fangfei's color is like a deep phthalo green, like deep turquoisey green. And when one or other of them is in control, they wear each other's colors. Like if,
wait, I did not
like,
notice that.
Yeah, so Jiang Li will occasionally have just the white with the red hair tie to show that Wan Ning is still over in control, but that issue is behind her. But whenever she has the choice to wear color, it's always some kind of green or dark green or blacks with green, things like that. And Wan Ning wears red, but when Jiang Li is winning, then it switches over and you see Wan Ning wearing a lot of green until like the very end. And she is, the color gets subsumed more and more. And it was why I found, again, the last episode very interesting because it's not so much, therefore, that the other person is control, but that they are not control of their own life. So like Wan Ning is wearing almost entirely green when she dies. And and Shui Fangfei is wearing completely red in the last episode.
Wow.
And when I first noticed it,
that is so good. Oh my God, I did not notice that.
Good. So the costuming department on absolute form. The music, there are bits of it that are a little bit lifted from other things, but they're all things from like the 90s, so I don't blame them too much for that. But the cinematography in this thing, it's very theatrical for some bits. So there are bits that are just absolute stage performance, like some of the flashbacks, some of the bits where she's reflecting on the dead. The way that they use their sets, they're like, look, everybody knows this is a set. We're not going to pretend it's not if we can do something cool. And cool they do. In addition to that, a lot of the time, characters will look straight into the camera. So you are staring at their faces. So you can see the full performance. And it feels like the directors went, these guys are too good for us not to see this fucking performance. You are going to have your screen filled by the charisma and the character on display. And I love that they did that. At first, I found it a bit jarring. But as it went on, oh God, I absolutely died for it. Like it works so well as characters unravel and as they are strong and as they are not strong. The other thing I want to talk about is
it speaks a lot to the intentionality, and that is something that you notice happens a lot with the double, which is why it shows itself so clearly as being missing in Lady Revenger.
Right. You can't switch from double to Lady Revenger. It's such a step down.
Yes. Please continue.
And it's just that not just like for the depth of like performance, but it means that if you watch them the way like as Nori was describing, like that scene where they're watching each other and they both know they're playing each other, and then you compare it to like later episodes when he's got the adorable, oh my God, I love this woman so much expression on his face, and she's teasing him by being completely deadpan and then smiling, and it's so convincing as a loving couple. It works brilliantly.
They're so believable. Remember the part where basically he's sent to be alone, like he gets no visitors, and then she shows up because she wants to feed him, and basically encourages his guards, right, to leave so that she can have time. Like, it's just, there are little moments that you can understand why, of course, she's partnered with him, right? Because she's as intelligent as he is. She's earned the respect of people, especially those within, those within his own inner circle. And you can, like, the fact that Zhou Fangfei, and I'm using Zhou Fangfei here because of the fact that Zue Fangfei is somebody who was betrayed by a man she loves.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the double could make it believable to show how she goes from she does not trust anybody because she was so betrayed in a way that she never would have fathomed up until these are the little moments in her interactions with Shohong, that's Duxu, where he gets to show her over and over and over again that she can trust him, that she can count on him,
but that he
delicious.
understands that trust is not expected.
Exactly.
And like
exactly,
he earns it. And also like just something that occurs to me whilst you're saying that is that a lot of shows, when they have a feisty woman character or a strong female character, Zhao Lucy's shows tend to do this a little bit as well. It's the woman gets in over her head and gets rescued. The woman gets in over her head and gets rescued. The woman's doing really well, but she gets in over her head and gets rescued. In this show, it's much more of a case of Duxu's in the air and he goes, "Oh, she's gonna fuck up my enemies. Let's watch." And then he waits until she goes, "Okay, I have evaluated this situation. I know what my limitations are. You can do this. You do this." And so it's not the woman's an idiot. She's not. She's very clever and she knows her own limitations and she's not above using a man's power and influence. But he also is like, "Okay, so I just kind of want to see what she's doing with this." And it's adorable. There's one problem I have with the double. And one problem alone, and that's the people they decide to kill off. And to a very large extent, the way they do it. This is massive spoilers going in.
Yes.
Last warning.
This would be the point where I tell people that if you want a semi-happy ending, they still kill off a certain character that I am pissed about earlier on. But if you want a semi-happy ending, just stop at the end of episode 39. There's no
stop where you think the show should stop, because it keeps going for a bit and it shouldn't.
Yes. That last episode, I am so upset.
So
did you watch the extra episode? You know, there's a 5 minute extra, or was it 10 minutes?
I haven't watched the 5 minute extra. I did not know there was.
Talk about that.
Let me rephrase that. You told me, I forgot. But there's, for a show with, as we've said, such a radically positive portrayal of a strong, independent, intelligent woman. This show hates women. Absolutely hates women. Like, if it was a different show, Wan Ning would have been the one taking revenge and winning at the end. Like, you are absolutely unequivocally shown that she's absolutely right to be angry and right to be fucked up and deserves a better person. They kill off a woman who could very easily just have been sent off to a farm upstate and then brought back at the end for a happier ending. They kill off Tonga for no reason other than she served her narrative purpose.
Also we want to just cause needless tears. Because what was the reason?
No reason. Absolutely no reason Tonga needed to die. Even if her role was reduced in later episodes, they still used the maids in the household to do things. That could still have been Tonga. There was no need for this girl to die. They also, as we're saying in the last episode, after everything is fixed, after they have tied everything up in a beautiful, neat little bow, they have a little epilogue where they're like, "Oh, but we still have to deal with the fact that these guys might invade. And oh, look, they're invading." So they have a 5-minute scene of Duxu with his two sidekicks, who, by the way, one of them I wanted to marry a princess, and kill both of them off. And
which makes no sense.
Ambiguous whether they intended to kill off Duxu as well.
Do you know what I'm pissed about? Especially pissed about with that end scene, because they give me Duxu covered in blood and dirt and grime,
and I couldn't even enjoy it.
And I could not even enjoy it. That piece of that piece of
primate beef.
Is it? Would we call it like? It wasn't a ribbon. What was it that Zue Fangfei gave him? Like it's a talisman. It's something that matters to
token.
It's a token. So thank you. What I was looking for is token.
It's a jade token that she gives him tied to his belt.
That she gives him, right? So to give your context, right? The token is from her mother. Her mother gave it to her and told her to give it to the man that she loves, the man that gets her heart. Zue Fangfei gives it initially to Shen Yurong. And back when they were preparing for Shen Yurong's exam, right, his exam for to enter the court and all of that, and they needed money, she basically trades her token so that so basically she goes to what's it call those people? A pawn shop, right? An ancient Chinese pawn shop, right? And trading a token for money to help her husband, her faithless husband, by the way, take the exam, which he takes, he passes, he catches the attention of Princess Wanning. Here and his mother and his sisters are all like, oh my God, royalty, royalty, royalty. Anyway, so it shows that he did not deserve that token. Mm-hmm. So when Zhou Fengfei, reclaims, comes back to the city under the identity of Jiang Li, she goes back and goes to retrieve the token, which of course was tied to one of her meetings with Duxu, because Duxu was suspicious, and of course he got the token before her just so that she can come and ask him for it. I'm telling you, that man can flirt. Anyway, by the time by the time they finally align on the fact that, yes, sure, they're in this together, she loves him, he loves her, she gives him the token on their wedding night. And so when we then have that shot of the fight, right, I'm over here devastated because his two subordinates, my two boys, are dead for no good reason. There was no reason why they should have died. And then Duxu is there, is standing against this massive horde, and he reaches for this big harbel that he's going to use to fight. The token, it was like someone caught him and the token fell, and he grabs this token and he puts it right between his teeth as he's bloody and injured and has that I am going to fight because I have to return to my woman look in his eyes. And I'm like, this is such a good shot. And this stupid show would not let me appreciate and love it, because why did you have to kill the people that did not need to be killed? But please continue, exactly. Holly, because I'm reason. Upset.
And in addition to that, I didn't like the way that Shen Yurong died, because he gets to choose his own death. And to the very end, he's going, this wasn't my fault. This is because you coached me in the exams. And if I hadn't passed the exams, then I wouldn't have been noticed. Despite the fact that the show tries to indicate that he's actually the big conspirator all along at one point. Mm-hmm. And that he's actually much behind all the evil court shenanigans. So he is absolutely in denial of how culpable he is, but he still gets to choose his death. And I wanted her to kill him. And I know women are supposed to rise above this stuff, but it's
fuck that
bullshit.
Shit.
She should have killed him.
She should have killed him.
Cut off his top knot and killed him. But yeah, so
I'm so upset. I did like the fact that he was still talking about how your hands were made for blah blah blah. She fucking shot him, but I wanted her to have sent that arrow through his throat. While he was still telling her that your hand was made for making music, not to shoot an arrow. She should have sent that arrow through his throat, so he can fall to his death and die.
Exactly, as opposed to, or for him to be dragged away with the full understanding that he knew that it was Duke Su who was going to be in charge of him, his interrogation.
Exactly.
So I felt like, of all the people to get off light, why the fuck did Shen Yurong get to pick his own death?
Exactly. Because also, when you also look at it, and I'm also upset on behalf of Princess Wanning, because say what you would about her, she loved that man. And she was betrayed by that man.
He just turn her down. At the start, he encouraged her by giving her signals, which she was psychotic. Yeah, she was parasocial. But he did encourage her at the start. And there are various points where he could have taken his own life if he had any fucking balls. But he didn't. He took his life to stop anybody else getting some proper vengeance in on him. And I was annoyed at the writers for doing it that way around, when so much of that show is flawless. But the way that characters are killed off, and in many cases when they shouldn't have been, it's just it really sucks. And it means that, like, if I rewatch, what'll probably happen is that I will rewatch certain episodes. Rather than being like, no, I've watched these episodes, I want to watch it all the way through to the end again.
Yes. Like, for example, the episodes that focus heavily on Shen Yu Rong, I am fast forwarding through that because you all do not understand how much I fucking hate that man. You all do not understand how much I fucking hate that man.
He's the guy who your friend is going out with when she's like, he's so nice, and he's not. And you lose a friendship because you're desperately going, no, you don't understand how manipulative this guy is. He is going to be doing this to you your whole life. And she's like, but he's so pretty. That's Shen Yu Rong. He does not take responsibility for his actions. He blames his mother and sister.
He was even blaming his mother.
He
blamed his mother. He blames Dukes. So there was a time when, when Zui Fengfei is arrested because she hits the drums to, ask for justice for herself. And, the subtext is that she's also beating the drums, for her. Of course, she's doing it for her father, but also subset is that she's also doing it for a younger Duxu who had to beat the drums for his own father.
It's beautiful.
That scene was so fucking powerful and so lovely. And then she's going to jail. She sits in jail. She doesn't mind, right? And Duxu comes to get her. And I kid you the fuck not. Shen Yu Rong, just because he sees that, oh my God, this very hot, sexy man. This very hot, sexy man who we all know. The minute he gets one night with your wife, she's never going to... Sorry, not wife. Your ex-wife. She's never going to remember you or what you look like naked ever again in her life, because she has that man in her bed. He sees Duxu and then his brain. This to show you all the kind of person, because honestly, Princess Wani needed somebody who's psychotic matched her psychotic, right? And Shen Yu Rong had lost his damn marbles. But Princess Wani was still a better person. And she deserved somebody, a better psychotic than that piece of shit. Because Shen Yu Rong, somewhere in his Delulu mind, decided that he wanted to have Zhou Fangfei marry him again.
His audacity, the audacity is real.
The audacity of this man. I was just like, I want to scream. I want to scream, because what in the nonsense is this? What
the amount of times I yelled "fuck you" at my phone watching this man.
Same.
As opposed to "I want to fuck you," which is when Xiao Hung is on the screen.
Exactly. Duxu were like, we want to fuck you. Shen Yu Rong, fuck you, die, drown. Yeah. In fact, your body should not be found. You do not even deserve a burial. Like, I'm so upset.
And it's one of those actors as well, like, everybody is superbly cast in this, and like Shen Yu Rong is one of those. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to watch him in a romantic lead, because he does it so well. And like everybody's like, I really hope I see the Emperor as a lead in something, because the lad who played the Emperor was fantastic. And like Emperors in these shows are often like the write-off. The actor is kind of pretty, but he doesn't have to do very much. Just sit there in the hat. This Emperor, the charisma he has, the bromance he has with Duxu is amazing.
Oh, so amazing. Yeah. So amazing.
So I honestly, again, we are reiterating this pretty damn hard.
Even his romance with Li Shuran's elder sister.
With Consort Li. I really like that.
Because which is so funny, because Consort Li is meant to be much older. She's not meant to be. She is much older. She's much older than him. So usually... right? So usually what that would mean is that you would expect that she would have overpowered and overshadowed him in some way in the drama, right? Whereby you get the ick and you're like, oh God, it feels like, he's basically took his mother on as a consort. No. They legit made it believable. Her love for him is love for her. Her insisting that she's going to stay so that he gets the chance to escape. You have There's
another one, people. A woman who really didn't need to die. Like, it was a really cool
She did not need to die.
The best death. But she has the best death, possibly, of all the characters who die. But to be fair, it was completely unnecessary. And it's like, why? Why, writers? Why couldn't you let people be happy? Unless they intend to do the double two, where they get, the Emperor gets hooked up with someone.
Honestly, I would be okay.
That's only one of the only times I think I could cope with a follow-up series, is if they did that and they just had Shui Fong Fei and Xiao Hong occasionally pop in being like, well, we're deliriously happy. How much of a shit show is your relationship at the moment?
Also, now here is, because now we are entering like comparison territory, and of course people are like, no, Ria, Holly, what do you mean by you're entering comparison territory? You all have been comparing Lady Revenger to what you all are considered the perfection that is the double.
People.
There was meant to be a structure, but we are almost at
you
2
got
hours and we have nothing.
So we're just, you're screwed.
Like we're just winging it at this point. So this is kind of the content you all signed up for. We apologize. Please just roll with it. So I was thinking, Holly, I was thinking about another piece of comparison was the way in which, like you're saying, that Lady Revenger had it with her brother suddenly going all incesty in a way that was weird, and the way in which the double had Zhong Fangfei's Jiang Li's cousin like express interest in her, but they did it in a way that did not feel incesty.
Exactly.
They did it
you
in
don't
a way
get the impression
that did not feel
that he's
incesty.
Sexually attracted in her.
Yes.
He's like, shit, this woman knows how to run things and I don't. If I marry her, I'm never going to have to do anything again for the rest of my life. And like his character arc is very much him realizing that he wants to be challenged in life. Everybody gets a character arc in this show, and they do it. That's one of the reasons, like, it's... Sorry, I have to shift position. My back is killing me.
No problem.
It's one of the ways that, like, Revenger did it so wrong is that they had archetypes, they didn't have characters. And so they were expecting the cast to put all of that, to put enough charisma into characters to bring up the shortfalls. I think the double would have been quite good even if the cast hadn't been as strong, because the writing is superb. And the way that it is plotted out, and the way that, as I was saying before when Nori was trying to talk, is that there's no hand wave. Apart from like killing people off because they're no longer necessary in the story, there's no hand wave away of, this is why they're doing it. You can always go, oh, actually, that's why. And that's where Wenji was useful earlier on, is because he was basically used as the audience person being like, wait, why? But that doesn't make sense. And getting punished for it as a running gag of him being like, no, but this doesn't make sense, which I think that's why the death annoyed me so much, was because I associated with that boy as an autistic person. I associated with him so strongly as being like, no, this doesn't make sense. Why am I being punished? It doesn't make sense.
Because he kept taking things very
face value.
He kept taking things very face value, right? Very literal. And so created moments of comedy, but also like it wasn't mean-spirited comedy. Like when Li Shen and Zhou Heng are teasing him about the fact that it takes everything. Did I say Li Shen? No, Li Ji. Is it Li Ji? I think.
I can't remember. My brain has got turned to mush. All that I can think of is Zhao Heng's freaking smirk, and that is literally the only thing in my brain right now. But no, absolutely, it wasn't mean-spirited. It was absolutely always shown as like, we're improving you so you don't get killed, which ironic.
Exactly. So so like
so that's the difference between the two. Is like Double is sorry, go on. Double is an intelligent show made by intelligent people who have these characters in there to be like, wait, I don't get it, Li Jiang, why are you doing this? Without it being like a lot of BBC shows tend to do, where you're like, oh, could you stop piecemealing to the audience? We are not stupid. Like, these are genuinely like, especially if you're watching it one episode a week, you would occasionally need reminding of shit, because it is 40 episodes of extremely intelligent, well crafted writing. And it's that's the difference. Is like it while the casting doesn't make or break, what this comparison shows is that casting can lift your show from a pretty good, clever C-drama to one of the best C-dramas I have watched, and I have seen many. Or take a really good actors can be pulled down by a show that is not written for them and is not very well written anyway, until you're like, well, now you guys look like bad actors, because that's who you see. Like, no matter how much you know about any industry, you're still watching the actors, and you're still going to go like this whole thing with Shen Yurong. Like, you're going to be like put off by certain performances, and that can be as much as oh, they weren't very good in that. I'll just not bother with them in the future. as opposed to somebody where I am going to watch these leads. I am going to watch every single one of their shows, except for the lad whose name I've forgotten again. I'm sorry, who played Shen Yurong, because he honestly psychopathic.
Shen
And
Yurong,
things like
I
that.
think. Yeah,
It's
Shen
something
Yurong, I
Yongqi.
think was Liang Yongqi. Yeah, Liang.
Yeah.
It's Liang Yongqi.
Liang Yongqi, yeah. So I wish him all the best, but boy, you really ironically dug your own grave there.
Because now every single time I
Sorry.
see him in any drama that is like a romance, I will convince myself, I'm like, it's going to be a cheating scum of a husband. Every time he's like attempting to be all lovey-dovey, I'll just be like, nah, I don't trust you. You're the person that hurt So Fang Fei. You buried her alive. I do not trust, and I'm not believing any single thing that she was saying. You are a liar. Yeah. You are.
And there's only one other actor who's ever done that to me, and I can't remember the actor's name, but we'll eventually do the show. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's the lad who is in Fairy and a Demon who is pretending to be a eunuch, and it's him and a woman who was a consort, and the new emperor is obsessed with her. And the guy who plays the new emperor is the same thing, of like just these dead eyes. And completely like a moral coward who is always going to blame other people for his mistakes. And there's just something about that type that instantly, like, there's a reason I'm aromantic, and people like that are the reason. So yeah, I wish everybody else, and I'm definitely gonna like as I say, like everyone from like the Emperor to like Bit Part Sisters, like I would love to see more of the guy who is like her Jiang Li's, not Shui Feng Fei's, but Jiang Li's second cousin, I believe. Like, he was a fantastic little actor. He's got a gorgeous freckle that I want to see more of.
I concur.
Yeah. So honestly,
and
this
he really
show
did
is one
that
of the best.
Yeah, and like each of the casting, and of course, eventually I might be able to see Shen Yurong in like a romance. Eventually, maybe in like 5 years from now, not anytime soon, but like maybe 5 years from now, I'll be like, okay, I can see you in a romance. But like, I do think that every single one of the characters in the show are people that I am now actively invested in seeing what their next dramas are, so that I can follow them and all of that. Because like, out of the park, of course. If I watch a show and I realize that, oh shit, unfortunately for them, like they got stuck with a director that absolutely, either a director or a script that does not bring forth like the range of their abilities, I can always fall back on, I'm gonna go watch a couple of episodes of the double so that I can see exactly what you're capable of. And I just know it's confirmed that you were done dirty by the script, or you were done dirty by the director. But yeah, like that's definitely it. But do you want to speak briefly about any of the themes that might have like jumped out at you across like either of the shows?
I'm getting to the stage that my brain is starting to shut down, and I can only imagine how anybody who's been listening to us for, what is it, nearly 2 hours, or is it past 2 hours at this stage?
It is past. We're now past,
it's past 2 hours. Yeah, I can't even imagine how they're thinking. I think that, as I say, the reason that I picked this one is that it's not just because it's a cunning pun on the Chinese phrase of saving face, but also the fact that you are not just saving yourself, but also the person whose place you've taken. You're getting vengeance for both of these people. And I think that, again, the double hit it out of the park, whereas Lady Revenger, it was very much a case of, this is what I'm doing, not this is what is driving me. And like, we always feel absolute investment because the actors are 100% invested in what their characters are doing. And I think part of that might be, again, that the fact that the directors just let them talk with their faces and nothing else, no distractions. But also the way that both characters, whereas again, like I said, in Lady Revenger, it's very much a case of, oh, go on, you're her, aren't you? No. Oh, go on, aren't you? No. Right from the start, Duke was like, I smell bullshit on this whole thing, and I will call you out on it if you push me, but you do your own thing. I trust you. And then that whole theme in both of them of trust, because you know it's a trite thing to say, but trust is the most important thing in any relationship, let alone in any romance. And I think again, it is an absolute masterclass in how to write trust.
Right, it's fantastic. It's actually fantastic. For me, I would say that the And because of the fact that it shows you in real time. You can slowly see how that trust is built.
Mm-hmm.
You can slowly see, and then there are little ways in which, even with the cinematography and even with the writing itself, they show the little ways that they have come to trust each other, right? The scene where Zefeng Fei feels comfortable enough shortly after her almost assault, right, to fall asleep in the presence of Zhao Heng, was meant to show that she trusts him, right, to have her back. Right? It's the same thing with giving her the whistle so that she knows that she gets to control when aid would come her way, because he knows that that is something that has always been important to her. That need to know that, okay, if she's in danger and she needs help, the kind of danger that she's ascertained for herself that she cannot get out of alone, is like, I got you, here you go. So really, it's just it's trusting in each other, and realizing that that trust is earned, right? You put your trust and faith in the right person. For me, I would say that a theme that, like, one theme that stands out for me a lot, like, strongly with the drama, is the theme of, second chances at life and love, right? Because that's the whole thing about, you get a second chance. And in this case, whether it is with Lady Revenger and her getting the chance to fix things with her family,
and him
even
getting the
though, of
chance to
course,
save her again.
exactly, and him getting the chance to, so he's making up for it, right? And then in so doing, they get a second chance at loving each other, right? Which is always good for me. And the same thing applies with the double as well, right? Where it then becomes the first time Johang sees her, she's married to Shen Yurong. The way in which that scene is captured, he was intrigued by her. She notices him, but she's a married woman, and so she's wondering why he's staring at her so intently, and walks away. It's a bit different in the books, because yes, y'all, I enjoyed the double so much, I actually went looking for the book and I read the book as well. It's a bit different in the book, because in the book, somebody actually did ask him. Okay, I don't want to say that, because then everybody's confused about what story is what. But that chance, he never got that chance, because she was already someone else's wife. So one could have said that in that previous lifetime, where Zhou Fengfei is married to Shen Yurong, she and Zhou Hong missed their chance. But then in her being buried and then basically being reborn to take on the identity of Jiang Li, she gets another chance at life, and she gets another
In
chance
addition,
at love. Yeah,
In addition, she would not have been the right woman for him when he saw this innocent, protected, veiled woman in the street. It's like, yeah, she's hot,
exactly.
but she's not the person I need in my life to get achieved what I need to achieve. And it takes him a long
Exactly.
time to admit that she is the right woman to share his dangers with and things like that, which is always
Exactly.
hot as balls.
Very hot. Fucking hot. But yes. For those who want our final thoughts on this, Holly, of course, it goes without saying, but I'm certain that people just want it confirmed. Do we recommend the double to
Yes,
anybody listening
absolutely.
to us right now?
Do not watch the last episode. Stop at the wedding.
Do not watch last episode.
Sincerely, I
Yes.
know you're going to do it anyway, but please allow me to tell you, stop at the wedding.
Like,
You will
just
have
stop at the
minimal
wedding.
irritation.
Like, you just be like, oh, look at them, so sweet. Because honestly, a lot of the happenings that happened in the last episode was not needed, was not necessary. It was
Complete bullshit.
utterly unnecessary. It was completely bullshit. Because you're like, why? What is this? You can
Why?
just continue to live in La La Land. Just be like, oh yeah, a happy ending. Clearly they are getting on some sexy times. My suggestion, right? If you're like, but no, Naria, Holly, we need to know how it goes. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to stop at the end of episode 39, or you might not even get to the very end of episode 39. Just get to the end of the wedding, their wedding night, right? And be like, oh, that's so sweet. Then stop there and then go look for the bonus. There's a special epilogue that was made where we basically meet Johan and Zoe Fang Fei's daughter. They have a daughter together. She's precocious. She's adorable. They are reading her story time. Johan is helping Zoe Fang Fei study. It is so cute.
That awkward
Jiang
moment
Li,
where you accidentally piss off your watchers so hard, you have to give them a second generation shot.
You have to give them, exactly, because everybody was like, "What the fuck is that ending?" So they gave us an ending. And then Jiang Li's cousin, her second cousin, right? The one that Zheheng is like, but he wanted to marry, right? He is, she's like, oh, there's this particular event that we have to go to support him. Zheheng is like, I don't want to go. And then she's teasing him and basically convinces him. And he's just watching her, absolutely in love. Watch that epilogue after the wedding night, so you can be like, oh, this is so cute, and then you see their names and their thanks roll on screen, and you can convince yourself that episode 40 did not happen. That is my advice.
Yeah. That is absolutely true. So we need to sign off because yourself. I need sleep. I am crumbling
for anybody that needs
context.
For anybody that needs context, this is like early hours of the morning for us both. So yes, Holly definitely needs to sleep. I'm still going to be awake for a couple more hours, but that's because I'm sleeping into like later in the afternoon. But Holly definitely needs to sleep. But I would say that officially we have reached the end of today's episode. Yay! Right? So
we did it.
Yay, we did it. First episode of Subtitles.
I hope we have entertained you. At least I hope that you feel like you're sitting in a cafe with two really opinionated friends who won't shut up. Yes. Let us know, as we said, which bits you liked the most, whether you want more detail in general terms, less detail in general terms, whether you want us to argue more, if you want us to talk more about the actors or the acting or any aspect of the shows. Let us know, because we're treading blind.
Yes, and like, all your comments are welcome. Feedback is definitely something that we want, because we just want to improve on this and just create an experience that you all would appreciate and enjoy so much better. So please, please, please drop the comments wherever you can find it, or just, send us an email. If you just check
all of our things like messaging things, how to get in touch with us on social media. I've temporarily at least set up a page on my website to give people more information. All of that is going to be in the blurb wherever you found this.
Yes, and you can get all that information and give us your feedback. We are definitely enjoying it. And is there anything else you want to say before we wrap things up officially?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I have enjoyed this, but I'm very tired. If I got more monotonal throughout this episode, please forgive me. There, I'll just say that.
That is okay. That is okay. And please, you all can totally say that. Holly, Noria, your summary at the start, like, make it short. Just let us know. Let us know. We're definitely down for that. But yes, until our next episode, right? We hope you enjoy the show. Watch your dramas, enjoy it however you might like, and remember, right, that watching these shows in other languages that you might not speak or even understand, but you enjoy the shows regardless, remember that it is all a totally valid coping mechanism. Bye, everybody.
Bye.